1, 2, 3, 4.
In this podcast, you will hear Knights of Vader, Knights of Vader, includes, but is not limited to, talk of Star Wars, not ray guns. We can't truly prepare for the joke that follows this song, but hey, we gave it a try, so here's the Knights of Vader. Crystal Fox reports they are divided. Prequel, sequel, canon, love they fighted. I know that we are just musicians hired, and their time is up, so here's the Knights of Vader.
Impressive. Most impressive.
Thank you to An Inspiriority Complex for providing our theme. Today is December 13th, 2021. Knights of Vader here. I'm Russ Ryan. I am joined by Chris Porteous.
Hello. How's it going, guys? We have some generic Star Wars related news topics to cover.
Right to business. And of course, everyone's favorite serious podcaster looking out from the bridge of a really cool Star Destroyer. It's Zenger.
Yeah, you got me here, and I am beyond two souls to be here, and it's heavy rain outside. Detroit Become Human.
Is that the game? Okay, I think we're gonna get into that. And also, here's me, Russ Ryan. Wait, who does this? Oh God, he got it wrong.
All these Wookiees are dead. Move to the east. Yes, sir.
Oh, it takes me back.
It feels good to be back on Knights of Vader. Thank you, Zack, for having me here. And Chris is going to be running this show tonight because we have a lot of fun stuff to talk about, I think.
Yeah, so I guess the biggest thing, which I'm sure you guys have seen, is last week the trailer for Star Wars Eclipse dropped, which is supposedly the first game to take place in the High Republic era, which I say supposedly because it wasn't immediately entirely clear to me that this was the High Republic era. I'm assuming you guys saw the trailer. What are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was hard to get a gauge on what kind of game it was. I had to ask around to someone who knew, I guess, a little more about it. To me, at first I thought it might be an MMO, the way they showed like a guy being birthed out of some kind of pool at the end. I was like, oh, is that where you create your character? And it's like a Galaxies-esque game, but I'm not sure. It's more of a KOTOR-esque game, right?
The official site says RPG, so I guess it's probably closer to KOTOR than a MMO.
So this game is this is what got me. This game is being developed by Quantic Dream, which has made Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and Detroit Become Human. So there is my reveal for why I said those names at the beginning. These are very heavily driven character stories that have been no IP related stuff. Like they've never done an IP related thing. The fact that they're doing a Star Wars IP blows my mind because I've always liked these games, but I've never gotten into them. Ellie, however, loves these games. Every one of these has brought her to tears. Like these are fantastic storytelling games. So now that they have an IP that I can get behind, I want to see more from, I cannot wait for this. And the only reason I'm hesitating on all this is there's nothing. We've got nothing. This is the first we've heard of this particular game. And the reason I'm hesitant on it is how far did Star Wars, was it 1313?
Yes, and you're yeah. So we're seeing a cinematic trailer, so it's totally within the realm of possibility that this never sees the light of day, along with so many other things.
And I wanted to because they've done some amazing games. I just can't get behind them because I'm just like, oh, it's just generic character, blah blah blah. But the fact they have a universe to work in that I love, I want to play this game. Like I am down for everything this game has to offer, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, I do too. And watching the trailer at first, I didn't really know what I was in store for. I saw the RP in the beginning, so I kind of assumed it was a game. But when they showed some of the cinematics of the market and the people walking around, I watched it with my wife, and she looked at me, she goes, "No, this is not a game. This is like a show or something." I'm like, "No, I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be a game." And then once you see a lot of space combat, but it's bold. I want to play it. It's definitely bold because it's I mean, I know they're calling it High Republic. I mean, you might as well just call it prequel era. I mean, there's Neomordians and Trade Federation giant starship battles with ships I don't think I've ever seen before, but it just looks like episode 1 and the RPG.
Yeah, I was getting that impression too, and I know that like you guys will have to forgive me for not being super up to date on the High Republic as far as canon goes, but I believe it technically spans something like 300 years. So this looks like real close to episode 1. This looks like maybe like 10, 20, 30 years before episode 1 to me, because like
it's going to be further back than that.
You think so?
I think it's going to be definitely further back than that.
I thought that was a young Newt Gunray we saw walking around. I do think this kind of tails a little closer to it. It feels like it's supposed to be like the rise of the Trade Federation after, I don't know, whatever. I know it's weird to think that the High Republic would have a conclusion like this already. Maybe that's part of what they're doing. I thought it was supposed to be a longer series, but I don't know.
I think it's going to take place probably, I'd say 300 years prior. If I were to take a guess, I think it's going to take place a little bit after where the books are at right now. We did see Yoda, who the books cannot stop mentioning the fact that Yoda exists. From the one I read, and like I said, I know
what Yoda's up to right now. Like they do Gucci kind of things to him.
It's in the book several times. It's like Master Yoda, man, and I'm like, can I go one thing without having to hear about him? Like, please, there are other Jedis I want to be interested in and root for, but no. My prediction is this is going to be, I'd say 300 years. The only reason I'm holding back is the Newt Gunray reference. And the fact that those ships have not evolved at all in those 300 years.
That's what I'm talking about. Like the Trade Federation control ship looks like it's like they wanted to just make a slightly. One. It's like it's the same, but like just slightly edgier. Like there's more guns on it or something. Like it looks like it's armed up a little bit. But Yoda, like you see him from really far back, but like it just looks like CGI prequel Yoda from what you can tell. Like he doesn't look like young per se, although I guess he's still 600 in the High Republic books or so. But I don't know. It just looks like super close to episode 1 to me, because obviously you see a lot more change in ship styles over a much shorter time period and other canonical examples. So that's why it seems closer to that to me. But Zenger, are you reading the High Republic stuff or just the comics or what?
The one I read was it was the first one, and I cannot remember the name of it now. Give me 1 second.
Well, the reason I ask is because I mean we're all going to probably show our ignorance mildly, but like I don't know if they've been like setting up this foe that shows up in this trailer in any of that media.
From what I've been reading, it's more
is Drum Man the foe? Is he the bad guy?
It's an army of drum men.
Okay. Well, and honestly, he does look very Voldemort. He looks very Marvel also for a villain. Why they got to choose that weird nose for so many villains? I know they think it works, but I mean, it immediately a little bit takes me out. I'm like, wait, this is very Marvel-y looking.
Well, I think it's because, corpses don't have much of a nose, like skulls don't have much of a nose. It's just a look that implies like death and evil and all that. Like, I know
if he had a massive nose, that'd be scarier.
Maybe it might have some comedic value as well. Like for a good chunk of this trailer, this sort of army of noseless drum guys, like they're mostly just playing drums, like it's a Sapporo commercial or something, but I don't know. I find these guys kind of threatening. Like they kind of remind me of like Lord of the Rings orcs or something, or like almost something
grown out of ooze. Almost, it looks like they're trying to show that.
Yeah, wasn't there like a canon version of the Yuzan Vong that they were setting up called like the Gursk or something? Like it kind of reminds me of that, or like just like like some like unknown regions, like Dark Army that's in this trailer alone 10 times more threatening than the First Order, something like that.
Are they maybe the original army of the Trade Federation, and this is like what they first tried to do as an army, and that's why they ended up just settling to do droids instead? Maybe these guys turn on the Trade Federation or something. If you're saying that this is known for a lot of drama and stuff, maybe we get it from both sides. We get a complex evil, and I don't know, I guess the good guys are just the Jedi. What do you play in this game? Are you a Jedi? Are you flying around a ship? Are you Rick Oley?
It's gonna be multiple I mean, you're going to be playing as multiple different points of view and everything. And like I said, this is very story driven with talking, stuff like that. It's kind of more of a point and click. So that's why I'm like, all the action stuff is not going to be something you're probably going to be interacting unless Quantic Dream completely goes in a different direction from what they've done in the past. So to answer the question Chris asked me, Star Wars Light of the Jedi is the one I've read. It was followed up with by Star Wars The Rising Storm, which also was then followed up by, coming out soon, Star Wars The Fallen Stars. So I've only read the first one, and basically the big villain in that is sort of it's back when hyperdrive lanes were being established. So the big villains are like pirates that are able to utilize the hyperspace lanes to basically wreak havoc over everybody and stuff like it.
It's like pioneers of space, where like the Oregon trails are just made, and that's a cool concept to think about, though.
It is.
I mean, I think about a lot of that Star Wars, that these lanes have to be established. You can punch in these coordinates to a ship that is known. That's fun to do.
It's interesting, and it's kind of touched on a little bit. If I may mention the Thrawn books, which are better. The Thrawn trilogy that's in canon, not the Thrawn trilogy that's out of canon, or the prequel to the Thrawn trilogy that's just wrapped up. In those, it talks about how like the unknown regions and the area, Thrawn comes from, they've established hyperspace lanes, but the Galactic Empire has not yet. Because the way they establish hyperspace lanes is they have force sensitive people.
Isn't it sort of weird that like they're only like in the High Republic they're only establishing the hyperspace lanes like then? In Legends there's a lot earlier.
Outer Rim. It's like the core is good. It's the Outer Rim regions.
Yeah.
That they're having trouble establishing stuff in. And that's where Thrawn comes in the book series there, is that since he knows the other regions, the unknown regions and stuff like that, he's able to help the Empire start to establish and branch out into there. But the fun fact is the way they utilize it is through force-sensitive children that they call Skywalkers
around the galaxy. They call them Skywalkers?
Yeah, the Chiss name for them is Skywalkers.
Oh.
So it's a funny, but no, they basically, they don't call it the Force, it's something else, but they basically, it's established, it's the Force. They just don't ever utilize it, so it falls off eventually.
Yeah, I heard about that. I haven't read
They're
those.
like indigo children of Star Wars, where they lose this ability as they get a little bit older and they start getting wiser.
Yep.
Yeah, I sort of throw that in with other new canon ideas, like the lightsaber blades color changing by like a mood ring. Like, I'm not too crazy about it. It's a little bit touchy-feely for me, but
we need more boring Star Wars infrastructure books.
Yeah.
Where we learn about these lanes, or we learn about how, the bar trade or the Jawas are doing, like, boring stuff.
Taxation.
It can only, we love it now. It's so loved.
Heck, man, if you want that, you should go read the Aftermath trilogy. That is full of the most boring stuff I can possibly imagine.
Yeah.
Take that, Aftermath trilogy. I read all of you, and I was not impressed.
Why would I lie about something like that?
Thank you.
You don't hear much about that trilogy in retrospect, so you're probably right there.
That trilogy, after reading it and seeing it was great to read it recently and see where Star Wars went with everything, because that series was a shotgun blast of ideas of, we're going to throw a ton of stuff out here. Are we going to utilize any of it? No, but it's all out here for us to go after if we need to. Like, it was the most committal thing possible, if that makes any sense.
Do you know if that tied in at all to the Shattered Empire comics? Because I feel like some of that was established before the Disney sale. I think Shattered Empire is actually like something that was developed by Dark Horse that they just kept because it was like basically done, and it took place so close to Jedi that they weren't worried about it.
Like I said, I haven't read all those comics and stuff, but I know that there is some stuff that carries over and some stuff that's even in the books that is no longer canon, like, or has been retroactively changed slightly and still takes place. There's an awesome, you know how I am about space battles happening close to the ground, and that, the Battle of Jakku is like the ultimate like thing for me. Describes it most boring interpretation of it, because they just kind of like, oh yeah, there's a ton of capital ships doing all this stuff. There's some really cool stuff talked about, and then it just goes to characters I could care less about. Let's see what they're doing. Let's see what Wedge is doing as he falls in love with somebody who will not return his affections. Let's see what young Snap Wexley's doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, Snap Wexley's also just not in The Last Jedi because he's not friends with Rian Johnson. So like things happen, I hope everybody listening appreciates that Zenger like really like keeps his finger on the pulse of like new canon media. Like he's actually read some of these books. It's really impressive.
And I've told Zach I'd love to discuss them. I'd love to angrily discuss what knowledge I have forced into my brain. By the way, if you want a good book that's not Thrawn, the Ahsoka novel is actually pretty good.
And that one actually like has a good audiobook too, right?
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I love it. Great audiobook. Great description of how the Force works from the perspective of the character. Another good one would be Lords of the Sith, which is just Vader and Palpatine doing Vader and Palpatine stuff and killing a ton of people. It's great. Love it.
Interesting.
Don't read the Aftermath trilogy. Anyways.
Yeah, not on the agenda. Just to sort of like wrap up talking about Eclipse. Honestly, it's an amazing trailer. It reminded me of the trailers they used to put out for the Old Republic MMO, and I guess maybe we'll get one more of those because I feel like they announced like the last expansion for that recently, unless I'm crazy. I had never played it, so I haven't kept super close tabs on the expansions coming out for that, but I think it's kind of cool that although it's obviously not as good as the two KOTOR RPGs, it's fun that game is like sort of still exists and has existed since like 2009, and they're still supporting it. It's kind of crazy.
It is wild. I was very early on. I know I mentioned probably that I definitely tried to play it from the beginning, and I just never got into it as far as an MMO goes. And maybe part of my life, I haven't played MMOs in years, and it just wasn't like grabbing me the way it was. But I think the original KOTOR just came out on Switch like pretty recently, right? Like
that was limited run
on Switch now.
Yeah, that was limited run games. I was so tempted. They put out this crazy like deluxe set where it had like little figurines and maps of the galaxy and all kinds of like crazy tchotchkes, which like really tempted me, as like I do thoroughly believe that is the best Star Wars story outside of Lucas's 6 movies. I know for a fact Zenger played it when it came out, right? KOTOR. Russ, I don't know if you did it when it came out.
I played on both the KOTORs. I love them very much. Very much.
It's a lost cause trying to get Zack to play it at this point, but it's like the idea that you could come up with a dramatic twist that is like on the level of I Am Your Father without being exactly that, and
set it in a Star Wars world we hadn't even seen before. Like it was totally different.
That's getting remade too, so I'm glad they put it out on the Switch, so a lot of people will get to experience it sort of up-resed and in its original version, because there's a lot of really novel ideas in there. For example, like the Sith Empire that you're fighting against, it's not like they have a token Death Star. They stumble upon like an ancient alien artifact that's essentially free energy called the Starforge that allows them to build up a fleet like over the weekend. That's the ultimate weapon in that game. And there's just a lot of interesting ideas that you could see applied to other new things, that rather than just doing another Death Star, for example. So I absolutely encourage everyone who hasn't played that, which is no one who's listening to this, to get it on the Switch, because it's probably like $15.
Yeah, I like how they throw these things on the Switch, man. I've got some of the old Jedi Knight games on Switch. I've got Pod Racer on Switch. I'm gonna get this, man. Put some Super Bombad Racing on there too. I'm all set.
Yeah, that was a PS2 exclusive, I think. So I don't know. I don't remember.
A blue disc, so it didn't work after the year like 2006. So no one can play it ever.
Yeah, there's a couple weird ones that are only on PlayStation, like even PS1. Like I don't know if you remember Star Wars Demolition, but that was a game where it was like Twisted Metal
game.
It was like Twisted
Oh.
Metal, basically. Like you drive vehicles around, and like it was like a vehicle deathmatch arena where you could actually play as Malik Hilly riding the Rancor with 2 rocket launchers attached to his head, which is a pretty wild time. Yeah, there's a sequel to the Pod Racer
Power
game.
Battles, of course, too. The Power Battle Episode 1 games, or
Exactly.
PlayStation 1. Oh, nearly impossible games to play, but you could be like Plo Koon.
Yeah.
Mace Windu had a blue lightsaber. Purple was not even established for him, I don't think.
Yeah, that's even the first figure of Mace has a blue saber, I think, because he didn't ask Lucas for the purple one yet by that point. So that's cool that it's cool they're putting some of this older stuff out on the Switch. They should do it for all of these games because like they're all hilarious in their own way. But Knights of the Old Republic is like, it's universally acclaimed. It won probably 50 Game of the Year awards in 2003. It's not for no reason. If you like RPGs at all, you should probably check it out. Moving on from there, there's a couple things that we didn't have you guys on for the last recording, so it would be fun to get your take on a couple things.
Zenger, you and I, we weren't on when when it was Joe and Chris and Zack, and they were talking all about the new Star Wars Hotel Starcruiser. I'm sorry, Boba Fett Starship experience that everyone's gonna go enjoy. You guys put the link to the video, the original Starcruiser video, but it was already pulled from that thing that you guys put. I've only seen little bits of what the original actually is. I watched someone watching it to get a good idea, where it's the young teen and the girl, and they're walking around the ship, right? That's the one.
Yeah, so it got taken down right away. So I guess the link we posted in the group got removed as well. Maybe
it was removed. I was listening to the episode. I'm like, we have a link. I'm like, click it. And I was like, oh, nope. This is like, nope. Copyright has pulled this. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, so they took that link down. Obviously, critically, it is panned. So you're saying you haven't even seen the video?
I've seen a guy watching the video, so I've seen most of it. I see where they walk around the hallway, they go in that cantina, they see the lady singing and everything. But I couldn't see the full experience because he couldn't have the audio, stuff like that. But I have seen this new video that I think you want to talk about. There is a second video has appeared since then, a leaked. What it's supposed to be, like a hotel clerk or announcement?
Yeah, this is a welcome video that got emailed out to everyone who actually booked their $6,000 stay at the hotel.
Oh, wow. So that's who saw this thing, was the people who actually put their money down already. And this is their first little taste. Oh, you think you're going to live Star Wars for 60 hours of your life? Get ready, baby. Here's what you get. And this was like a holiday special level, like kind of like not Star Wars-y,
Yeah, I mean, it looks like she's on a green screen. The background looks like it's 3 or 4 feet behind her and not very large and possibly animated. She uses her iPhone as a holographic projector, which is like you could have just got her to hold anything with the LED on it as a prop, and they chose a phone, which is just like, it's just rough to see that. And it's, it's sort of a basic script that never cuts away to any B-roll or anything. And you basically just get told about the 2 or 3 activities you can do at the hotel that they've already showed us in other previews and photos and short videos. It's awesome that they actually succeeded in stopping Russ from watching the first video by taking it down. Like, he actually hasn't quite seen it, which is hilarious. So with your brief sampling of that other video and this new one, like, what's your, so basically, when are you going to put your deposit down, Russ, to go visit this hotel?
Well, I mean, I saw this one because, of course, they sent it to me because I had been booked for months and months. No, I don't know, man. I really want to go see Galaxy's Edge. And I know y'all have all talked experience. You say Millennium Falcon period. I kind of get that. And I want that. This is, I mean, I don't know. They need, from the little bit I saw the other video where, like, the costume people, their interaction with you, like where that lady walks up to you and everything, that doesn't, I don't know if I would feel very comfortable with that. I don't know. I would probably try to have fun with it, but I don't know how much fun these characters are having in there. It's like, these are basically strangers you're supposed to work with, but it's going to seem so unnatural because you're going to know that you might, this lady is going to get off work later. It's not, you're not Star Wars. You're not really an alien. I don't think I could break that part of that full on role play. Like, I can go there. I can have fun at the park. I'll walk around the Millennium Falcon, high five Chewbacca, do all that. But getting that deep a role play for that much money, I just don't think I have it in me to not just laugh in their face at some point.
How much is the deposit you have to put down? I'm just trying to budget this.
It's $6,000 for the experience, Zenger, and you can't bring all the kids. You probably bring maybe 1 or 2.
Got you. My favorite. Oh, I said that out loud. I have not seen this video. I have not seen somebody reacting to this video even. I know from the fact that I married a, do I want to say lunatic? Yeah, lunatic when it comes to doing stuff like this, that I will eventually have to experience. I will experience this by force. And I'm not looking forward to the effect it will have on my bank account. But I want to... Russ, you've never been to a Ren Fair, have you?
Actually, I have not. And my kids have been to multiple ones. My wife goes all the time. I still have just not been.
So that's the reason I'm asking is, like, the role play in that is fun. If you get the right person, they'll totally go with you on it and mess with you and everything and have fun with you and everything. The reason I'm saying that is it would be great if a Star Wars, like, Ren Fairs are people doing it for the love of the game, not because they're getting paid. I would love to see somebody have to get paid to interact with nerds, Star Wars nerds.
Right, and they're attractive, very, very attractive people. We're probably talking about. They're not, these, but they are like kind of highly trained, and they are essentially actors, so they will be acting. And yeah, I'm not saying I haven't been any kind of like immersive experience. I guess I could play along it being Star Wars, but it has a like that weird cheesiness to it, like that holiday specialist thing with the hotel clerk lady, where it's like it's not the serious Star Wars. If I'm going in there and maybe the Empire's pushing me around or something, I'm like, or like the rebels are being serious.
I'd be on
we're not
board
here
for
on a
that.
vacation. Like, all right, this is more of a mission. You've joined us. Thank you. Look, go get your uniform. Like, if it was more like that, it seems more like you're on a Star Wars pleasure cruise. Like, well, I don't live in Star Wars. Do I really earn this like vacation? I thought we were fighting people.
Well, okay, there is
wars, man. We're not just trekking around like idiots.
There definitely is a little bit of that. It's beyond me why they haven't advertised it. There was some reviews from a couple influencers who got an early peek where there are parts where the First Order like invades the ship and like starts bossing people around, and like some guys had to they described an activity in which you try to sneak Chewbacca down some hallway while stormtroopers are not looking. You like literally like hold like a dinner pan in front of him or something so that the stormtroopers like don't see him walk down a hallway or something. So like I don't know how that plays out in reality with like a family. But
kids, we're going to play hide the Chewbacca. It's like, whoa, I know we're on vacation, but like you do this enough at home.
It's an interesting role play environment. Like, you're gonna have some space armor guys with guns board your holiday cruise ship and like aim Nerf looking guns at your children, and like you're gonna sneak Chewbacca down a hallway. Like, it's just what I think the jarring thing will be when certain kids freak out and just ruin it for everyone by screaming and being annoying children,
which will inevitably happen anyway.
Yeah.
They'll be like, it's Chewbacca. He's the guy who flies side to side or up and down. I forget what control he was.
I want to point this out real quick, just to prove, even though Zach's not here, I'm still committing to my normal Knights of Vader activities. I'm currently in the process of recovering my profile for the Old Republic MMO. So I will keep you guys updated on when
thank
I've
you for
recovered
pausing
that.
Halo to make sure you got that while we were recording.
Well, no, because I was like, wait a
Knights of Vader
second.
mode.
It's free to play. I think I have it installed. Oh, I do. Why don't I actually play this? Because I played it way long ago. Recovered my profile name. Would you guys like to take a guess at what name I utilized?
Darth Zenger? I have no idea.
Okay, Darth Zinger. Russ, you're going with Darth Zinger. Chris.
like maybe what are some of the old Sith lords like Marka Ragnos? I don't know what.
You ready for this? Now, mind you, this was Prime Star Killer time too.
Okay.
I went with Obi Zinger.
Obi Zenger, that's pretty cool.
Obi, I was like, I have no clue what my profile was. Recover, and it popped up my name, and I'm like,
So do you remember about what year you sort of fell off the Old Republic wagon?
oh, let's see here. When did it come out originally?
2010, I think.
About 2010.
I got it for Christmas that year, like everyone else, and I would say by the new year rolled around, I don't think I was rolling around there much.
Me and Ellie both got it. The collector's edition is sitting in the closet, not in this room, in a different room. The one Dart, whatever his name is on our Star Wars display down the stairs.
Malgus, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got it, and we were all about playing it, and well, it fell off. So
I love those trailers, but it came out at a time where World of Warcraft was already on its like third or fourth expansion, and it was already very evident that MMOs were like bad lifestyle choice. Like the South Park episode about WoW had come out, and it's just it's basically cigarettes is what you had to understand when you start one of these things. So like I never did, but those trailers were always a highlight since there's like 10 of them because they've done so many expansions.
They have it, and the newest one is called Onslaught because I'm watching the B-roll for it now in the background while I'm continuing to do my password recovery.
I think that one expansion that had the trailer with like the two brothers that like eventually like turn on one another, I think that came out like since the Disney sale, and like that's an awesome trailer. It's so nice that they let those kids over there doing that MMO just basically do whatever they want because like that thing, guys. Yeah, like that was hardcore. It was only slightly better than a new Eclipse trailer, which I think looks amazing. So, you guys are not too jazzed about this Galactic Starcruiser, but Zenger will inevitably end up there. Good recap. You don't find it as offensive to your existence as some of us did, but that's good. You're much more measured, normal human beings. So the other thing we talked about, that we were making some predictions last episode about whether the HasLab Rancor would get funded or not. I'm so glad I stuck to my guns.
You stuck to your guns. Zach thought there would be a mystery celebrity benefactor at the end. There was not. Seth Rogen. Nobody showed up.
Who would have done that?
Kevin Feige, maybe, but he is not anywhere to be seen. Feige's saving his money for Christmas. He's not getting rancors for everyone.
He's still real. He realized he bought so many sail barges that he doesn't, as many people as he knows, he doesn't know enough people who would want one as a Christmas gift. So he still has to pay the
I want one. Send me one of your barges.
He's still paying the warehouse fees on the first round of barges that he bought, so he couldn't save the Rancor. Have any of the HasLab projects appealed to either of you guys, or was this always sort of off your radar because it's just so like out there that we're never even thinking about it?
I would never think about the Rancor, but the barge is something that like enters your head. Just a cool diorama to have. But it's just like, it's so big and it's so much money, and I've got so much other stuff to worry about besides this giant thing. But now I know Kevin Feige has so many. We'll just go start some heist and just stealing Feige's barges. Like that would be a great. Wait, maybe we should cut this part out. We'll talk about this later.
And Zenger, did either of the previous Star Wars HasLabs appeal to you, the barge or the Razor Crest?
I guess the Razor Crest would have appealed.
I guess the Razor Crest is awesome too. Yes.
I mean, none of these really appeal to me, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm staring at some Legos right now over there that are definitely appeal to me.
It's also not a space helmet, so
it isn't. I don't have any. I have the Punisher Iron Man helmet. Sorry, I'm like looking at a shelf over here.
Well, there hasn't been the most recent ones haven't really got me. Like you've had the First Order Stormtrooper, which I'm not crazy about
today, and I'm like. Whatever, get away from me.
And then there's a bunch of repaints of the Boba Fett one, like the Death Watch, and then there's like the new re-armored Boba Fett, which don't look different enough for me to get personally.
They don't. And I mean, I want to get I want to get an actual Boba Fett because I have the white one, but I want to get one that's the actual either messed up one or the repaint, or of course the Mando one. So I need to get that. But no, I was like, I'm looking at the Razor Crest, the Falcon Lego, because they're currently habitating my office right now as opposed to their normal spot downstairs because Christmas is in full swing, and apparently the Lego ships are no mas down there on our Star Wars display during this time of year. Slave One, though, because I'm calling it that because that's what's on the box, is still down the stairs at the moment, though. So yeah, I know, controversial. The response is priceless. Also, I have the Seinfeld set Lego too.
A lot of people are talking like they're actually going to canonically address the renaming of Slave One and Book of Boba Fett, and I can't think of something that would be more awkward. Like they haven't felt the need to say the name once on screen yet. I don't think they're going to do it just to change the name in Book of Boba Fett because, like, to the average audience,
crest it. What if they toast it?
Yeah, well, not only that, but it's just like you don't need to reference the name of his ship. Like he was in Mandalorian season 2. You saw a lot of that ship. They didn't feel the need to find a name for it.
Oh, we can't have a whole. This is the book of Boba Fett, where we've already got the story of Solo. We can't have him going. You've never heard of Boba Fett's galactic starship? It's the ship that carbonated Han Solo in one Bespin trip. And they're like, no. But what's it renamed again? Because
I don't think it actually, like, I think that was like
Bloody Phoenix or something. I don't know.
I think that was fake, what you call fake news. I don't think it was ever actually renamed. I think they changed the name of the URL on StarWars.com, and there's a Lego set. I don't think they really did anything other than that. And I think it'd be weird if it happens in the show, and it probably won't.
We brought up Book of Boba Fett show, and we're talking about merchandise. I just have to say, I know you're always talking about the great merch you've seen in your Toys R Us Canada because you have it. Walmart, I was doing some Christmas shopping, went to the Star Wars aisle, was surprised to see tons of things I have not seen yet. There were like 3 3/4 inch Moff Gideon carbonized figures, a ton of them. There's this giant Boba Fett plush thing where you hold his hand and he repeats what you say. You can say anything dirty you want and you just hit it, and then he says it as him. It's actually a fun little toy. He has a rocket firing thing on him too. But I noticed a lot of figures. Now, a lot of them were ATSD drivers and Paplus, but there was still a lot of stuff. They had Aura Singh Black Series. They actually did a little push for the holidays, even in Walmarts.
Yeah, I've actually been finding a lot of stuff recently. I found the vintage collection Palpatine's throne room set with the chair and the window behind him. I found that locally. I
saw a retro collection Palpatine guy, but he's got the weirdest smile I've ever seen. I didn't get him, but there is a new Palpatine figure out, and he's got a just Zack. If you don't have this figure, it's just he's the first grinning Palpatine I think I've ever seen, like in a little figure.
Yeah, so basically the set that comes with the chair is that same figure, but he has a different face expression. So the one on the single card that you saw is like basically mid electrocuting Luke. That's his neutral face.
He's got multiple hands. He has the hand options in the pack, which is always a nice touch of the Emperor figure.
Yeah, so like, you know, there's 2 Palpatines available at once. I found the new Empire Strikes Back version of Lando from the vintage collection, which is pretty great. I posted
there too.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I posted that in the Knights of Vader Facebook group. That's like, you know, it's probably the best and maybe the last 3 3/4 Lando figure you'll ever get. So like, you know, if you're into that stuff, get one of those. I have been seeing a lot of the vintage collection stuff, but I know there's this wave of Clone Wars figures with the Tartakovsky animated series backgrounds on them. It's kind of
came and went, or those kind of gone. Zenger's like, all right.
Zenger's like, I have all those. I'll get them right now. No, but I mean, I don't think those have showed up in the States yet at all, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I know they showed up real early in a Canadian Walmart and a couple more recently. But you know, it's the situation where like that stuff shows up and one guy will clear out everything like the moment he sees it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was surprised to see what I did, even during the holidays, that they were putting a good amount of stuff out there and weirdly Boba Fett stuff, but it all seems so random. It's not there's no like rhyme or reason to any of it. So it's hard to like if you think of it. I know these are made for adults; these are made for us. But if you are a kid, it's like, what are you gonna do with Paplu and the Emperor, and I don't just random figures like that. There's no like unity. There's no like unified set ever. It's just like 5 different lines, at least one thing at a time, and yeah.
Well, you don't have those movie dedicated lines anymore. That ended with Solo, I think. So like Solo had like a set of 3 3/4 figures that were actually like branded for the movie and all that.
Big one too, yeah.
Yeah, but they're doing some interesting stuff. Like I saw the new T-Bow, for those of you who actually know the difference between your Ewoks, which is basically nobody. And T-Bow is like an Ewok that was a Kenner figure that in 1983 that he's the one who's got a pig on his head basically. And what I thought was kind of cool about the new vintage collection one was they actually included like accessories for him so he could look like the Kenner figure and also look like how he does on screen in the movie, which is It seems excessive, but he has 2 different pig head hats in his card back. So he could look like 2 different versions of an Ewok that nobody can remember or distinguish from the other Ewoks. And I'm sure Zenger has a lot of interesting thoughts about that.
I have absolutely none.
So like you've never really been into like Black Series or Vintage Collection, right?
I mean, I've got a few things, but it's just kind of stuff I've come across over time. Zack did send me the Armor and Bo-Katan Black Series, which are sitting back there, and I got this. Does that count?
Yeah, that
very
counts.
nice.
Those are fun. The retro collection figures. Like I think that there's a second wave of those for the Mandalorian coming out that look
They all
kind of
look
interesting.
cool, and I regret not getting everyone to see, but I think I have Mando and Cara and a second Mando that just roams around the cantina.
I also got a Thrawn figure too, because why not?
Ooh.
A Thrawn figure, like a Black Series one. I guess that's the only one. It's like
Yes.
6 inches. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, have they ever made a little smaller? I don't think so.
Yeah, they made one for that, like a Rebels cartoon style short one in the last few years.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's true. This is probably the last time we're going to talk before Book of Boba Fett comes out, which is probably
Ooh,
pretty soon.
boy.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's like right at the end of the month. The first episode drops the 29th, maybe something like that. I think we're gonna, in that first episode, we'll probably see pretty much all the stuff that's in the trailer, and I hope we do, so that it can move on to a substantive, interesting story arc after that. What do you guys think? What are your predictions for episode 1 of the Book of Boba Fett?
I think episode 1 is just going to be covering them renaming the ship.
That's all it is.
It'll be
So it's
22
long
minutes.
history of Slave One. Would you guys like to predict if we will see a flashback and see him crawling out of that Sarlacc to start the show? Is that what is going to start the show, or no? Are they going to touch that at all?
I don't think they're going to touch it.
I feel it, but wasn't there like an official quote, or maybe it was Tamir Morrison himself who said something like it's going to show you like every moment of his life that wasn't on screen or something? Like he said
I
something
think we did
crazy
hear
like that.
some weird thing like that
Yeah.
early on. That's what made me think that. And will he ever have some kind of showdown with Luke? Is this Book of Boba Fett a book that at the end, like most books, closes and said guy is gone? You think there will be some kind of, he's gonna build his forces and maybe get a little revenge on the little baby blue eyes who threw him in that hole to begin with? Is that an arc they're gonna go with?
You know, it'd be even a better arc. Him hunting down Han Solo again.
Yes. Yeah. Either that. Yeah. Or either of them. Is it going to be new Han? Or are we going to see Han's girlfriend, the queen of Star Wars dragons in there? You know, that world could collide. There could be, the Maul couldn't be there, but those people could.
Yeah, it's within the realm of possibility that they'll show Kira / Mother of Dragons, even though it takes place after Return of the Jedi.
Really old though, right?
Well, I mean, it's modern Star Wars, so she can look like she's aged hardly a day, even though Han Solo has turned from Alden Ehrenreich into Harrison Ford by this point. So like they don't
Make him turn back.
yeah, they don't. Bo-Katan
You put
didn't
actual Harrison Ford in it, and it's just really confusing.
Bo-Katan and Fennec Shand didn't even change their clothes over 28 years. So like, and they also look the exact same from Clone Wars until Book of Boba Fett. The same costume, same hairstyle, headband. Nearly 30 years
They're
running.
aliens. We don't
good
know
look.
what planets. Yeah, their planets rotate.
Yeah, it's just it's amazing. There's in the Star Wars galaxy they can take care of you so that you barely age, but a lot of people just choose not to partake in this amazing technology, like Obi-Wan, for example. I guess that's not too far away either. And I mean, I don't know if we avoid leaks on this show or not. I don't think Zack's had any policy about that in the past, but I did see a very compelling leaked photo of what really looked like Hayden Christensen in some sort of partially de-armored state, which looked pretty compelling. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it looked very much like the look you get for Sebastian Shaw when the first top piece of the helmet first comes off. And it looked all right. It looked like it would fit in if we're talking like 10 years before A New Hope. So that it could be interesting. And I kind of hope that you could tell it was him if this was real. So I personally kind of hope they keep it to that, because I don't think you can pull off like flashbacks that with these actors that take place before episode 3, unless you're gonna like really animate them. I think that's gonna be weird because like Hayden Christensen looks fine, but he definitely does not look younger than he did in 2005.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you can put the hair on his face and the scar and everything. Yeah, there definitely would be some de-age, but they pulled it off with, you know, Robert Downey Jr. to a certain extent in you know, in those Infinity War movies.
Yeah, that had a lot more money.
That's not the hardest
it.
thing to do. It's when they die. That's when you have problems.
Yeah. I don't know, that like that's Book of Boba Fett's coming up. I'm sure we're gonna do some kind of recap episodes for that. And to some degree, depending on how instantly depressed the storyline makes Zack. We'll find out if he.
But like, how psyched it for the casuals? Yeah, I'm actually so very happy for just Star Wars casuals who might just go, oh, there's a Boba Fett, and I hope it's everything they want. I know it's going to be nothing Zack wants, or it's going to be about half of what we want, but I do feel like the casuals will get a lot of what they want.
See, here's my thing with it. I am going into this with no expectations, and that's a positive thing.
It is.
I don't know what I want from Boba Fett. I don't know. He's a character I don't put any thought into most times. I'm like, he's the guy who sort of stumbled upon Han Solo, and he's a cool character, but I don't glorify him, except for that one episode, Mandalorian season 2. I will glorify him during that. But besides that, I got nothing. So you show me whatever you want, and I'll take it at face value.
Daniel Logan showing up, yes or no?
No.
Logan is not even a younger version. This is everything that happened to him on there. There's no Logan, but Logan's not young. That's the problem.
Yeah, Daniel Logan is now older than Boba Fett is supposed to be in The Empire Strikes Back. In fact, Daniel Logan's about the age that Boba Fett is supposed to be in the Book of Boba Fett. But Tamir Morrison happens to be about 20 years older than that.
Well, thanks for participating, Daniel Logan. You'll always be some people's Boba Fett.
No.
Well, you know, he did get to voice him a few extra times in the Clone Wars. That was quite a while after episode 2.
Ton Wee.
Daniel Logan's like one of the like 7 or 8 Boba Fetts, you know, like he does well on the convention circuit with you know, the guy who did one stunt shot as him and whatnot. So
that guy's floating around. I saw he's coming here too. I'm like, dude, I met Jeremy Bullock, dude. You're not Boba Fett. Daniel Logan is kind of Boba Fett too. You cannot be the new Boba Fett, the old Boba Fett. You're not.
Yeah, there's a pretty healthy list of people who've played Boba Fett on screen for less than 10 seconds each. We'll probably get around to some recap episodes of that. Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about, or is that pretty much it for tonight, you guys?
I think that's it for Star Wars, man. There's not much going on. Waiting for Boba Fett, waiting for Obi-Wan. We're waiting for games, waiting for toys. What about you, Zenger?
I've officially recovered and been able to get into my profile on Old Republic, so probably never going to touch it again.
That can only mean one thing. For Obi Zenger, for Chris Porteous, I'm Russ Ryan, and this has been Knights of Vader podcast. And as always,
Remember Alderaan! Down with the Empire!